Hello everybody, welcome back to Kanga TV, home of North Melbourne fans. The date is Tuesday the 9th of December, and after over 24 hours of speculation, today we have unveiled the brand new captain of the North Melbourne Football Club, Spearhead Nick Larkey, will be leading the pack from the front from season 2026 and beyond. His vice captain, young gun Harry Sheezel, and rounding out the leadership group, Tristan, Xerri, Luke, Davies, Uniacke, Charlie, Comben, and Zurhaar in a very inspiring, energized new look leadership group. There is so much to like of this announcement, from the captaincy, the vice captaincy, and all the way through to the leadership group. I can't remember the last time I felt this inspired and this re-energized and rejuvenated by the guys standing at the front of the pack and leading this football club. It's a young list, it's a young group, and it's really symbolic of what we are working with and the framework of the North Melbourne Football Club on field anyway as a whole from 2026 and beyond. I think I can speak on behalf of a lot of supporters in feeling like next season is going to be a really, really significant one for us. We have got so much promise and potential and talent on paper. It's now time to put all of it to work and bring it to life and get ourselves on track to move up the ladder and hopefully towards our 5th premiership. And I couldn't be happier than seeing Nick Larkey being the one to lead from the very front. Long before season 2025, I felt like Nick Larkey would be an excellent choice of captain. Not only is he a star player and he holds a lot of qualities that a great leader and a great captain should possess, but I think he has an incredible ability to connect with the supporter group, to really resonate with us and to ride the highs and lows of being part of the North Melbourne Football Club as a North Melbourne person. And it's not to say that Jai Simpkin isn't that. It's not to say that Luke McDonald or Jack Xerri haven't been that before him, but there's something really inspiring and something really personable about Nick Larkey that I think I can really connect with him on a deeper level than maybe I have been able to with some of the captains prior to him. I think Luke McDonald really possesses that, but I think his on-field maybe was a question for a lot of supporters when he stepped into the role as co-captain in season 2023. But the players were the ones who made the vote, and Cal Toomey reported on afl.com.au yesterday that this is the way their vote had swung, and the club have come out today and confirmed the news. I do think it's a great call, and like I said, prior to everything that happened in the off-season with Jai, I feel like Nick Larkey was an obvious choice and would have been a really great, inspiring choice for captain, and it seems like the playing group are in much of agreement of that. A lot of people might have thought that Harry Sheezel would have got the call up. I wouldn't have been disappointed if that was the way that the club decided to go, but Harry Sheezel just turned 21 not long after the season finished, and I think earlier on in the year, while Harry was still getting a lot of the ball and was still seeing a lot of action, I didn't really think he was able to break into his damaging, influential best on field until after the bye in season 2025. He was trying to fill a lot of holes on field and still moving around in multiple positions as we needed him to. It wasn't until he was settled in the midfield and forward of the ball in the second half of season 2025 that he was really able to shine. I felt like that uncertainty around his role and the demand and the workload on him probably was reflected in his football, and potentially a quieter patch, if you can call it that, for Harry Sheezel. And of course, there was that controversy with Kane Cornes and the criticism that came from him earlier on in the season. I don't think that any of us could really deny that the Harry that we've grown to know and love in such a short amount of time was probably missing in action for a lot of the first half in the season. And I think that was just due to the uncertainty around his position, his best position in the side. So once he was able to get settled and just focus on the one role and the one task at hand, he really did shine like we know he can in the second half of season 2025. He's still really young and he's probably still figuring out his football identity as well. So let's not give Nick Larkey a ceiling on 2-3 years in the captaincy role before passing the baton to Harry. I think we know that is going to be the natural progression, and that Harry Sheezel will assume the role of captain at some point of the North Melbourne Football Club. Had this been 12 months from now, and had we been sitting here at the end of season 2026 having this conversation, then maybe it would look a little bit different. But Harry's only played 3 seasons of footy, and while he is so mature and he's so wise and he speaks so articulately and represents this football club brilliantly as well, I just think the passion and the experience from someone like Nick Larkey is the right direction for us to be moving in at this point in time. I also think it's really important to remember where Nick Larkey started and how his football career started and how it's developed over the past probably 5 or 6 years. Nick Larkey didn't have a touch in his first game of football and was dropped after that debut game. Wasn't seen for another 2 seasons until he was able to mature and hone his craft a little bit further. And then when he sort of grew into himself a little bit more, was able to break into the side, hold down his spot, and has now become a regular fixture and a real focal point of our forward line, particularly over the past sort of 4 to 5 seasons, pretty much since the departure of Ben Brown at the end of season 2020. So it does take some time, and trust me, 2 vests and Ferris in 3 years and a rising star, we know what Harry is capable of, but I think just giving him a little bit more time to do his own thing on field before assuming the role of captain, in my mind, is the right way to go about it. Having said that, the leadership group as a whole is looking really, really young. Nick Larkey and Cam Zurhaar, 27 years of age. They are the oldest members of this leadership group, and Harry Sheezel at 21 is the youngest. In there is Tristan, Xerri, Charlie Comben, and Luke Davies Uniacke. A really awesome leadership group. I think this is something that we haven't seen for North Melbourne for quite some time. We've often had those experienced, wise heads really leading us and trying to set an example for the rest to follow. But the leadership group really symbolises to me and signifies the direction that this football club is now heading in. This list is stacked with young talent and so much potential at such a young age. And having a leadership group that represents that, both from an age perspective, but also from a personality profile, I think the football club has really hit the nail on the head with this one. Cam Zurhaar, Charlie Comben, Tristan, Xerri, and Luke Davies Uniacke are all really different personalities, and they are all leaders in their own individual way. And I think that every player now on that playing list, because we do have a really unique and a really diverse set of personalities and people and individuals on that playing list at North Melbourne, I think between the 6 leaders now, every single player will have a leader that they really resonate with on a deeper level. Nick Larkey and Harry Sheezel, I think, are your real gold star leaders, is probably what I would call them. I think they just ooze leadership qualities. I think they ooze captaincy. I think they ooze the lead by example. You could probably put Tristan, Xerri in that basket as well, that sort of traditional leader role. But the likes of a Luke Davies Uniacke, for me, he's got to be the one that's got to step up and lead by example on field. He is the guy in the middle of the ground. He's the superstar midfielder on over $1 million a year. I think he's someone that can really lead by his actions. I think Charlie Comben, he is someone that, again, quite like Nick Larkey, really is able to connect with the fans on a deeper level. He's got some pretty cool and quirky interests outside of the football club. So too Cam Zurhaar, and I think Cam Zurhaar is a little bit of a quieter personality as well. So there'd definitely be players that could probably resonate more with him and his leadership style as opposed to someone like a Larkey or a Sheezel. I just really, really love the direction that the club has taken with this leadership group. It really, as I said at the top of the video, feels like it's the start of a new era. I think we all kind of felt that anyway, and this leadership group probably just reflects that further and cements that further for me as well. So to see that feeling almost being brought to life through this leadership group is a really, really pleasing thing, and it has absolutely made me even more excited for what 2026 holds for the North Melbourne Football Club. So I guess the question is, where does that leave former captain Jai Simpkin? Well, it finally puts to bed what has been a rather tumultuous few months for Jai. About 3 days after the Sid Barker medal, the news broke that Jai Simpkin may be looking to explore his options outside outside of North Melbourne ahead of season 2026. He was briefly linked with Collingwood throughout the trade period, but he remained a North Melbourne player at the end of the trade period. And not long after that, he broke his silence after a very long month of not much at all. He opened up about the mental health challenges that he had been facing throughout majority of season 2025, and he felt like maybe a fresh start outside of Arden Street is what he needed to get his career back on track. But upon some reflection and his own admission, he actually never wanted to leave North, and he has really come back, and he looks to have been hitting the track pretty hard upon return for pre-season. And you can read into what he said as much or as little as you like, but I think all we can really do is take it on face value and now work with what we've got. We knew that it was unlikely that he would be captain in season 2026. As I mentioned, now the 3 months of speculation has finally been put to bed. I hope that now him, alleviated of any official leadership duties in season 2026, can re-find his best form, be it on the wing. Maybe he'll find his way back into the centre of the ground. Maybe he goes forward of the ball. I don't know. That's up for the coaches to decide. But we've seen what has happened with Luke McDonald and the turnaround in his form in season 2025. He stepped down as captain prior to the 2025 season, and on field, it was probably his best year aside from his 2020 best and fairest season. I really, really hope that we can re-find the best of Jai Simpkin like we were able to do this season with Luke McDonald, because Jai Simpkin is a great player and Jai Simpkin is a dual best and fairest winner. And I think Jai Simpkin at his best can be a really solid contributor for this side and can be a really important piece of the puzzle as we start to move up the ladder and, as I mentioned, go towards that 5th premiership. So I really hope, for Jai's sake and also for the sake of the football club and its progression on field, that he can contribute in his own way through his very best footy, hopefully channel a lot of that energy into what he can do on field and just really be part of the North Melbourne Football Club, the turnaround for the North Melbourne Football Club, because despite the off year that he had, and lots of players have off years, he's not alone in that, but hopefully he can re-find his best football and be part of our success, because he's been a really important part of this football club up until this point, and I still think that there is so much that he can achieve before his career is over. And in case that wasn't enough news for your Tuesday, the Amy Community Series for 2026 has been announced. We will be taking on Collingwood at Mars Stadium in Ballarat on the 1st of March. I think that's a really fun and exciting fixture to get ourselves ready for season 2026. So for those of you who can make the journey down to Ballarat, I would definitely recommend doing so. We also are set to play a scratch match against the Davies in the middle of February. The date and the time and the location are TBC, so I'll be sure to keep you guys updated when that information comes around. But for now, it's all about Captain Nick Larkey and his leadership team. What do you think about the leadership group that will be leading from the front North Melbourne in season 2026? Feel free to leave all of your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, we can continue the conversation over on socials, Kanga TV show, across Instagram, Facebook, X, and on email. I look forward to debriefing all the North Melbourne news that comes to hand very, very soon. Go Roos.